So there's been a lot of discussion about the polar vortex. This time of year, we love to start talking about the polar vortex. When is the polar vortex going to do something? And so every year, I generally do this segment where we talk about what it is, what it does, what people are talking about, referring to here. And right now, the hot topic is Thanksgiving because models have been waffling back and forth on some kind of big cold front coming in for Thanksgiving. But you notice a lot of these guys, what they're doing is they'll show you one model one day, and then they'll show you a different model the next day. That's because the model they showed you yesterday suddenly doesn't show that. They've been all over the place, but as we're getting more and more of this mixed bag of information, I just want to make sure you understand what the polar vortex is, because we're going to be hearing a lot about it over the next 4 months. So the polar vortex, just fundamentally, is a little jet stream over the Arctic Circle. Okay, people like to talk about the polar vortex like it's a big system that just goes through. That's not how it is. And we've been talking about this event, this sudden stratospheric warming is what they call it. Big words for really what it's talking about is that in the upper levels of the atmosphere, there's a warming that can occur, and that pushes downward in the atmosphere, and that could push the colder air out. The thing is, every now and again when we have this polar vortex, we can see these distortions, and you see this here. That's what it looks like. Basically, the polar vortex weakens a little bit, and so when you have this push of cold air down and eventually, just like a downburst, down and out, because it hits the surface, it's got to go somewhere. So it moves outward, and it can cause these little distortions. Those distortions can push that colder air farther south. You get a nice trough or low pressure system to pull that southward. It can go along with it. That's exactly what happened in February of 2021. Now, I'm not saying that's coming anytime soon. Models aren't really saying that. In fact, the models today, really haven't looked very impressive when it comes to this phenomenon happening over Thanksgiving. It's just, that's the way it happens a lot of the time. You have these things that look really impressive on the front end, and then they don't really pan out that way. However, we're in a La Nina pattern. Sometimes that makes these kinds of distortions more common. So we will see what happens over the next few months to the polar vortex to see if any of those warming events do actually occur, and if that could allow for some distortions in the polar vortex, and whether that would bring us some colder air. So there's multiple things that have to happen. You have to have that stratospheric warming higher up in the atmosphere that is to push that colder air down. We have to get a low pressure system at the right place at the right time to pull this down. And I know this is not showing the United States here, but this is kind of the best angle I could get to show things. But if you get a low pressure system, a trough in the right position, or a strong front in the right spot to pull some of this downward, you can have very cold temperatures. We just don't have anything like that that's really enough right now to hang our hat on. So we will see what this does. We will be watching that over the next few months. But for right now, I don't see Ice-Mageddon in the forecast. So stay tuned to South Metro Weather. We'll keep you updated, and once we're able to really get a good look at Thanksgiving, probably later this weekend maybe, that's when the Thanksgiving period will come into that 7-day forecast period that I try to stick to. We will make sure you're staying updated and you're prepared for colder temperatures, or like we've had recently, unseasonably warm temperatures. There's just no way to know yet what Thanksgiving is going to look like. This Wednesday, rain starts. A lot of rain Thursday, cooler after that, and then another system possible earlier next week. So if you've liked this stagnant, dry, warm pattern, try to enjoy it over the next couple of days.